Hi, and welcome along to AFTV News Daily. Hope you're all keeping well today. You know, actually, I overslept a bit today, man. It's Tao, right? He's got me stuck on this Ozark thing on Netflix, and there's so many series to it, and I've been binge watching a bit, and I was just up till late last night. I was like, boy, you know what I mean? But now, good to have you guys along. It's a nice day, not as sunny as it's been recently, but a very, very nice day. And I know that a lot of you, actually it's Ramadan, so you're fasting. So fasting on a lockdown, jeez, that must be hard. So respect to anybody out there who's fasting at the moment. Fasting on a lockdown, man, boy, that must be tough, right? Because there's so many little bits of food that you might want to pick at, and there's nothing to kind of get out and take your mind off of the food and the drink and that. So good luck to you guys. And also, do you know what it would have been this weekend? Do you know? Quiz time. Do you know? It would have been the North London Derby, right? Come Sunday, it would have been the North London Derby. I mean, this would have been one of the most exciting weekends of the season as an Arsenal fan. We'd be looking forward to the North London Derby, and there is no North London Derby, of course, because we're all under lockdown. But wow, that would have been the first North London Derby at the new stadium for Tottenham. And imagine us going there, and you know, that would have been one noisy place this weekend, trust me. And I can't believe that, you know, it's just nothing. We're in complete lockdown. But anyway, let's get straight into it, and all the rumours surrounding Arsenal today. The first one is on Saka. Now, of course, Saka has had a brilliant season for Arsenal. Real breakout season, and he's been absolutely incredible. Whether it's playing on the left wing, whether it's playing as left back. As a matter of fact, even more impressive at left back when he went in at that position. Remember, he literally. And this is why you have to seize opportunities sometimes. He literally went in there because of so many injuries. First of all, there was injury to Tierney, and he was out long term. Then the injury to Kolasinac, and it's like, well, who else can we put in? We haven't got a left back left. Sorry, Saka, mate, you're going to have to play in that position. I know you've never really played there, but you're going to have to play in that position. Not only did he go in there and fill in, he was absolutely amazing at left back. Brilliant. And lots of assists, brilliant pace, good speed of recovery, good at tackling. His defensive work was good. And as I said, you know, scored goals, delivery was good. He was just absolutely superb. And well, he's 18 he is, right? And, you know, he hasn't signed a new deal yet, because you know, he's still on his old deal, which is reported to be anything between £3,000 to £5,000 a week, which is nothing for a Premier League footballer. There's been a lot of clubs looking at the situation, thinking to themselves, well, you know, if Arsenal do their usual, we can swoop down and get him. He could become another Gnabry or somebody like that. There's teams like Borussia Dortmund and all a host of teams in the Premier League, but it does look like a deal is close to getting done. That is the rumors that are coming out, that this is close to being sorted out, and I think that would be very, very good news for me and for all Arsenal fans, because he's one of our own, number one, and as I said, I think he can be a very important player in the future. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up playing, because Cedric yesterday, remember him? We signed him in January. He, of course, is a left back as well. No, sorry, he's a right back. What we're talking about, right back, Cedric, right? But it'd be interesting to see where Saka plays when everybody comes back, or who goes out of Tierney, Kolasinac. Obviously, it looks like Saka will be staying, so it'd be interesting to see that. But on the Cedric one, Cedric coming out yesterday, I think he did an interview on Sky, and he was saying, you know, how happy he is at Arsenal, how he, you know, he didn't say he supported Arsenal, but he said he used to follow Arsenal very closely when he was a kid because of, you know, Thierry Henry and Bergkamp and all those players, and, you know, Vieiras, and, you know, he said he absolutely loved Arsenal, and it's an absolute honour for him to be playing at Arsenal and he wants to stay. Remember, he hasn't even played a single game yet for Arsenal because he came in, he was injured from Southampton on loan. His loan deal will be up at the end of the season, and we've not got to see any of him yet. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Cedric. You know, Cedric, I think is a very good player. I remember playing when he was playing for Portugal. I think when they won the Euros in 2016, he was quite an important player in that. So will we keep him, or will he return? Well, he wouldn't even return back to Southampton because I think his contract will be up there. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens with Cedric. Arteta is said to really, really like him. So let's see how that one develops out. And then there's also Danny Ceballos. Now, Ceballos has reportedly said that, you know, he's spoken to Zidane, and Zidane has told him that, listen, you are a Real Madrid player. We haven't forgotten about you. You're in our thoughts. Just be patient, but your future is at Real Madrid. Now, whether that means, you know, obviously he wants to return to Madrid. He wants to make it at Madrid. But whether that means he'll definitely go back to Madrid next year, or whether he'll be back out on another loan. By what he's saying, it doesn't look like they're going to sell him, but it could be another loan deal, maybe to Arsenal. There's been reports that Juventus are really interested in taking him on as well. But Ceballos does see his long-term future at Real Madrid. And if he does see his long-term future at Real Madrid, should we, wasting time in him is the wrong word, that is the completely wrong word, but should we pursue another midfielder, or should we just bring him back on loan again if we can do, because he's a quality player? Be really interesting to see how there's going to be some really interesting conundrums at the end of this season, whenever that is, as I always say. Because there's so much uncertainty around certain players, and Ceballos is one of those. Another player where there's uncertainty around, of course, the big one is Aubameyang. Now, we had a big debate. We had Joel from Cheeky Sport on the show last night, and we was having a big debate about Aubameyang. Aubameyang, of course, the recent links to Chelsea. I mean, I was getting very annoyed by that on last night's show. Joel was pretty calm about that. He was saying, listen, I think he's going to stay. He goes, what Joel was saying last night, he goes, if you look at some of the recent people that have left, they've been kind of agitating to leave. You know what I mean? Van Persie was agitating to leave. So was Fabregas. You remember he put that shirt on famously over in Barcelona. Sanchez, he was agitating to leave. It doesn't look, you know, by all the sounds of it, that Aubameyang is agitating to leave. He's just kept his counsel. He's not really said nothing. When certain rumors have come out, he's actually, you know, poo-pooed them and said, you know, what do they know saying these things? So, but what was quite a major thing yesterday is that his dad, who I've met his dad, and he's a really nice guy, and I know that Aubameyang's family, they're very close, and he's very close to his dad. His dad put out this Instagram post yesterday where it says, you know what you have to do, bro. And then he's put Aubameyang in there, and he's got the red and the white of Arsenal and the love heart there, and a picture of when Aubameyang signed for Arsenal. Now, you're not going to get a bigger hint than that. And nobody's going to tell me, you know, like on, say, the Partey one where they then came out with a statement and said that's false. And this is his dad putting this out and saying, you know what you have to do, bro. So his dad wants him to sign for Arsenal. And his dad, as I said, is close to him. His dad is always at Arsenal watching him. So you can see in that picture, that's his brother there, Willie. They're very close. And, you know, I think this is quite a major thing. I know you can't always hold on to these things, but I think this is major when your dad, I mean, if my dad, God rest his soul, would have put out something and said, you know what you have to do, Robbie. You know what? I'm going to be listening to that. I'm going to be listening to that because it's your dad. He's a major influence. And listen, obviously, I'm not close to the family or anything like that. But in the times that I've met they seem a close-knit family. And his dad seems to be a guy that's very close to his career. I've seen pictures of him always watching his son when he was at Borussia Dortmund, when he's gone to play for Gabon and things like that. So I think that's pretty major that his dad is saying to him, basically, sign the thing. Sign the thing, Aubameyang. Sign it, man. Unless it's Arsenal that are holding up this thing. I don't know. Maybe that could be a hint from his father to let everybody know that, you know, his son wants to sign, but Arsenal have not put a deal down or whatever. But I don't know. That was very interesting to see that, especially coming in the light of so many rumors about moves to Chelsea and stuff like that yesterday. I thought that was really interesting that Instagram post came out. And for me, when they talk about drops a major hint, I think it does drop a major hint. And it was also very interesting yesterday too. I was looking what Ed Woodward at Manchester United was saying that that's their guy, of course, who does all the transfers and that. And he was saying that, listen, he goes, it's going to be a different transfer market. He goes, you're going to see the spending ain't going to be there. He goes, even for a team like Man United. And he goes, you know, of course, Man United are more protected against this whole thing because of their big commercial deals. But even for them, it's going to be tough. It's just not going to be the big signings, right? And, you know, we had Guillaume Balaguer come on the other day, say the same thing about the big clubs in Spain. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to be these mega signings. Chelsea are a club that are capable of doing that with Abramovich. They seem to live in a different world sometimes when it comes to finances. But even them has been a club that's been trying to tighten up their finances. I see that they're trying to give Giroud a one-year extension to his deal. So a lot of clubs are tightening up their belts. So this could be major. His dad coming out and saying, sign the thing, right? And Aubameyang, listen to your father. When your dad talks, do as he says, right? Do you all agree with me? When your dad talks, do as your dad tells you to do. Aubameyang, sign that contract. I want to hear from you guys. Is that significant? Is it significant, this whole Aubameyang thing? You know, his dad coming out. Of course, to me, I feel it is. This guy doesn't. He said, Arsenal Vlog says, Aubameyang is going to Chelsea. Another one here says, sign the thing. You know what I mean? Sign the thing. There's still a lot of people, you know, particularly Chelsea fans jumping on here saying that he's off. But listen, the money ain't going to be there. Kondwani says, listen to your father, 100%. And you know, as an African families as well, it's very important to, you know, African families, right? You know, African families, West Indian families as well. When your father talks, you listen to that. That's like a done thing. Not that we always do, but that's like a done thing. It's that I think is significant. Again, there, Emmanuel says, sign the thing. Alex is saying, you're right there, mate. But then this guy, Itzavi says, Abba is gone. I just feel that it's significant. I don't know what you guys feel about it, but I do think, as this guy here says, we Africans listen to our dad. And that is listen, it's a true thing. Africans, that's like a traditional thing. When your dad talks, that's significant. Listen to your father. So there's still a lot of people not convinced, though. He's going, end of, says YouTube TND. Winfred says, what if the players were told to take a pay cut so that the contracts could be sorted for the non-playing staff? He's on that subject. At least we've beaten that to death this week, man. And we don't know who those other two people are yet that haven't signed. I'm sure that will come out eventually. Here's Lee says, you guys have a bad habit of letting good players leave. So next to now, listen to your father, Aubameyang, he says, or Aubameyang, right? Listen to your father. Get DT on to ask him about Chelsea Aubameyang. Actually, watch the All Guns Blazing podcast today, and you will see that one person that is not going to be happy at all if Aubameyang was to leave to go to Chelsea, would be DT, and you'll see his reaction on there of the sort of things he's saying he'll do if that happens, and he's getting militant again. Johnny says Aubameyang will stay. Why would he want to go to Chelsea? Come on now. Well, listen, it's money, isn't it? You know, if you're on, what is it, Arsenal? 100 and I think it's about 180 grand a week, they reckon. Which, listen, that's a lot of money. But if Chelsea said, come along, 300 grand a week, that's hard to turn down. You know, especially if Arsenal are not making you a good, because that's the other thing. We don't know that end of things, yeah? So if Arsenal are not making him a great offer, and then another team comes along and says, well, we give you another 100 grand on top, it's going to be tempting. The thing, though, about it is, as I said, is that this is a different type of season. You know, it's a different vibe this year where the money ain't there. Even for those big clubs like Chelsea, the money ain't there because of the whole coronavirus crisis. So Janty says it's just PR spin. It could be, but I just think when it comes from his dad, that's quite significant. His dad is close to him. I've seen it. They're very close, right? I've seen his dad's at every match. I've said hello and spoken to his dad. His dad is very close to him, follows his career very closely. And I think it would have a big influence on him, his dad saying to him, sign. That's quite significant in you know, unless his account was hacked. That's quite significant to me. DG says, hi, Robbie, I'm a Chelsea fan. Giroud only signed a contract because we want Mertens. And if we fail to get Mertens, then we can keep Giroud. But if we get Mertens, we let Giroud go to Inter or Lazio. So that's what he's saying there. Mertens, of course, available on a free. That would be, you know, obviously could be an option for Chelsea with a cheaper option rather than, you know, forking out massive money. Ben says, Aubameyang out, Benteke in. All right. Yeah, very, very funny. You know what I mean? Although you wouldn't put it past Arsenal. But no, listen. I'm hoping that the Aubameyang, the Arsenal board know how important Aubameyang is and how important it is mindset-wise to get this deal done, in my opinion. Danet says, how many years would you give him on his contract? Well, you know, a 3-year deal. To me, a 3-year deal. I mean, he's 30 now. I'm not sure when he's 31. I'm not sure of his when his birthday is, but he's 30 now, right? A 3-year deal. Or, you know, yeah, his deal runs out next year. Or you could even go for a 2-year extension. But one of those two. But I'd say equate to about 3 years. He's still a top striker. He's still scoring the goals. There's no hint to say that the goals are going to stop. He's not injury prone. You know, that's a very important thing when you're dealing with a player of that age. What's his injury record like? It's all right saying, oh, he's 30. We need to get a young. Supposing you buy a younger player that's injured every minute. Yeah, you can buy a player of 28 and he's injured every minute. 25 and he's injured every minute. This guy's 30, but he's like a 25-year-old. He's never injured. He's ready to go every game. He's still super, super quick. And I look across Europe, and I've said this many a times, there are a lot of top strikers that are into their 30s. Mertens, who he just that guy just spoke about for Chelsea, who Chelsea are looking to sign, is what, 33, 34, and has still been one of the most prolific strikers in the whole of Italy. Cavani is 33, 34. Lewandowski is, I think, 31, 32. Messi's 32. Ronaldo's 34. You know, they're still scoring. It's still fit guys. If you've got to look at the fit, I think it's more important nowadays to look at the fitness record than the age. I think this age thing's kind of been drummed into our head since the days of Arsene Wenger, because remember, Wenger used to have this policy: as soon as you get to 30, out you go. That sort of used to be his policy, right? And I think we now have that in our psyche as Arsenal fans that, oh, 30, no. Oh, no. See you later. Off we go. No. If a guy is still fit and ready to go every game and banging in the goals, doing his job. How old is Jamie Vardy? What, he's 32? I think he's older than Aubameyang. He's a top goal scorer in the league. He's top goal scorer. He's 32. Aubameyang second, 30. Yeah? So this age thing, it shouldn't be just based off of age is just a number when it comes to football. It's more important is the fitness of that person. That's why Ryan Giggs, when he was at Man United, was able to play on for so long because of his fitness levels and because he was never injured. So, you know, or do you rather, you know, you get somebody like a Gareth Bale who's younger, but he's always injured every minute. You know what I mean? That's the sort of player that you look at and say is really, really talented. However, I'd avoid because it's going to be expensive and he's always going to be injured. That's how I look on it. So the age thing is a bit like a number. This guy says, Obama who? Obama where? Obama Chelsea. Very funny. He says, P.S. It was not his father, just the fan page, by the way. Well, I don't know. When I looked on it, it looked like his father's page just being reported by everybody. Jonathan says, from everything going on with the club's cash reserve and cash injections, do you think we'll be making quality signings this summer, even with this whole mess? I don't think Arsenal are going to be making big signings. I don't think a lot of clubs are going to be making big signings because the money is simply not going to be there. I think you're going to see a significantly different transfer market. Ed Woodward at Manchester United said it himself. If clubs make a big signing, it'll probably only be one. But I don't see no £100 million signings. I don't see many £50 million signings. You know what I mean? I think there's going to be a lot of loan deals. I think there's going to be a lot of players that you might have thought was going out that stay on. You know, I think there's going to be a lot of players running down their contracts. I honestly don't think there's going to be a lot of mega deals this summer because the money is not there. Zlatan murdered the Premier League at the age of 35 and still been going on, you know what I mean? So, you know, that just, as we're saying about players. Jake Connolly says, Aubameyang is the only reason that we're not in a relegation battle, in my opinion. We need a strong replacement or we must keep him. Well, you're absolutely spot on. Ismeet says he's staying done. Obama blood clot young. Trust me. Bunty says, if Aubameyang signs, would you sell Lacazette? I've said before, I want to hold on to both of them. They have a great relationship. You can see that it's not been great for Lacazette this season, but I would still keep him. I still think he's an outstanding player who's just had a poor season. Patrick says, big up Robbie, your show is helping with depression. Foxy from Huddersfield. Is that my brethren, Foxy? Because Foxy lives in Huddersfield. Big up Foxy, man. Enough respect. Thank you very much, man. Yeah, I mean, listen, we got to keep it going here on AFTV, and it's been great to see how many people have been getting involved in all of the debates that we've been having on a daily basis. This gentleman says, is the pandemic potentially an excuse for Kroenke not to spend again? I think it's not. No, I don't think it's an excuse. This is real, right? You know, Kroenke, yes, you know, he's put it this way, he's got a good excuse not to spend because this is not going to just affect Arsenal. It's going to affect every major club across Europe, across the world. So if he doesn't spend, you know, he's not going to be the only one. And so, all right, he might use it and say, yeah, you know what I mean? But he has valid reasons for not spending this summer because the money ain't going to be there. Ben says, Robbie, what about Nketiah? That's true. You know, Mikel Arteta likes Nketiah. Gave him a lot of responsibility when he brought him back off of loan. And I think Nketiah will stay. You know what I mean? You know, you need 4 strikers. You're supposed to have 4 strikers at a top Premier League team anyway, in my opinion. Firmino or Aubameyang? Who would you rather have, Donny? Aubameyang. I like Firmino, but Aubameyang, I like Aubameyang. You know what? It's not just Firmino's got a bit about this with him as well. But I don't think it's just the goals with Aubameyang. I think in meeting the guy, in seeing the guy, I just feel that guy's got a presence around the dressing room, not in a shouty way or, but just a bubbly, vibesy guy. You know what I mean? And he seems to already, he's got a good relationship with Lacazette, good relationship with Pepe, with the other players around the team. He's always got that smile on his face. I think somebody like that is good to have around the place. I really, really do. So, for me, yeah, I'm Firmino's a great player, but I would be more than happy to have Aubameyang. I mean, I think Aubameyang for me is better. As an out-and-out goal scorer, especially. Let's get a few more. Kenny says, a true owner who loves his club will find a way to spend money to strengthen the team unless it's cronky. Yes, and I'm sure, listen, the way to do it this season is going to be some low-cost deals and loans and moving people out. Going to have to sell people to bring people in. He's going to have valid reasons for doing that this season. Definitely. PJ says, massive fan here from the Philippines. Do you think we will ever get back to the days of 97 to 2004 where we competed for the league? Is the rise of the other teams, such as City and Chelsea, made us worse? And now you got Newcastle coming. You can get back to those days. We can. I don't think we'll ever get back to it where we, invincible seasons and things like that. We can get back to competing, but it's going to depend on a few things. Buying quality players, because over the last, say, 10 years, our transfer policy has been an absolute mess. It really has been an absolute mess. And we got to solve that, because one of the worst things about our transfer policy is the amount of quality players that have left for nothing, like Ramsey and people like that. It's been woeful. So we've got to sort that out. They brought in a team to do that. And that's so far, they haven't been doing too badly, right? So we've got to get back to competing. We've got to build a team that has an identity. And I think it's going to be very important what Mikel Arteta does. Arteta is going to be the key to this, because we're going to have to be patient with him, but he needs to build a team in his own image, a team that works hard, a team that competes hard, a team that's organized, and a team, even more importantly, that has quality around it. And that's why you have to keep players like Aubameyang, because they're quality. Tyrannical says, the real question is, how's the trim coming along? Finally got any hair since the lockdown. Listen, my hair can grow, but I just like this style. And you see now, this is the official lockdown style. You know what I mean? You can't get your fades done and all that now, can you? Let's get a few more. Joey says, give Arteta time, people. We can see there is something there. Definitely. See that there's something there. And he is going to have to be given time. From Uganda, Hakim says, Robbie, nowadays football is described with money. Those who invest big get the results. That is true. But then, if you look at a club like Liverpool, even though they have invested a lot, again, smart dealings in the transfer market. So when they sold players, a lot of the first of all, what Klopp did when he came in is he cleared out all the players that he knew were either deadwood, or even if they were good, they were not going to be able to play his style of football, which is high pressing, high intensity. He got rid of those players. He had to weather a couple of them for a couple of seasons, but eventually sort of weeded them all out and got rid of them, replaced them with the players that he wanted. Look at what he went for. So he went for guys like Mane, Salah, quick players, Oxlade-Chamberlain, quick technical, Then he looked at the back line. He said, I need to strengthen up that back line. Van Dijk, he went for Van Dijk to strengthen that. Fabinho, strengthen the spine of the team. Goalkeeper, he had a major problem with. Remember, Karius in that cup final was in the Champions League final was dreadful, always making mistakes. Minile, always making mistakes. Spent a lot of money on Alisson. But what they did do that was very smart is they paid for a lot of that with the players that they got rid of. So Coutinho paid for a lot of, Coutinho paid for Alisson and Van Dijk. Whereas with Arsenal now, when you look at Arsenal's transfer policy, you see a big difference in that players have left for, when Ramsey left, we got nothing. So we've not been able to use that money that we got for Ramsey, because there was none, to invest in other players. We've been left back to square one. So we've lost a quality player and have no money to replace him. And if you're working off of a self-sustaining model, which Liverpool are doing the same sort of thing, right? Because their owners haven't come and just flung a big cash injection in. They've more injected in extending their stadium and things like that. If you're working off that sort of a model and you're selling players and you're getting money in, it works. If you're working off of that model and your players are either leaving on free contracts or leaving on next to nothing, or you have a load of players on high wages that have no value and they're just saying to themselves, I'm not going nowhere until my contract runs down, it's going to take time. So this is where Arteta's going to come in. Eventually, a lot of players' contracts are going to run out. Ozil's contract will run out. Mustafi's contract will run out. A lot of these high earners, their contracts will run out. And that is where Arteta's going to have to act and bring in the type of player that he wants to play his system and the quality of player that he needs. And that, if he does that and gets that right, we can challenge again. But we're going to have to be patient with it. Stephen says, what was it like to win the title at Spurs? And what were your memories of that day? That was absolutely incredible. The only thing that peeved me off that day is that we didn't win the game, right? Because right at the end, I think Lehman, gave away a stupid penalty and they managed to get a draw. But, to win the title, we still sing and chat about it now. To win the title at White Hart Lane was amazing. And you know what? It's just a pity that there's no football on this weekend, because, of course, it would have been the North London derby this weekend. And I think best derby in football, I always say the best derby in English football for me is the North London derby, not just because of the fact that the atmosphere, it's always packed and everything like that, but also for the fact that it's always an entertaining game. You've got other derbies, even a lot of times, Liverpool, Man United, very physical, tough game, but there's a lot, some of them can be a bit boring, a bit, attritional. I think the Liverpool City one now is, well, that's not really a derby. That's a good rivalry because good quality. But the Tottenham Arsenal, it doesn't matter how poor either team is, they both turn up to that game. They both know. Both teams know what that game means. It's fierce, but there's always lots of goals in it, and that's why I rate it as the best one. Black Sheep says, Robbie, we need Lamar as our number 10. He'll work with Aubameyang and Lacazette and Pepe. Ozil out, then we get Torreira out for Partey. He's looking to move a lot of people out. What's Lamar done at Atletico Madrid? He's been an absolute flop. So, you're I don't know, you're speculating there that, listen, Lamar was, we were after him for a while, but he's not delivered, has he? He's simply not delivered. You have to just say that. So I don't know. If we're gonna get rid of Ozil, Lamar wouldn't be who I'd be looking to replace him with. Neil says, when is DT dyeing his beard? He's choking. He actually watched the podcast today. And you will see how that beard's working out. Zway says, can't wait to see Smith Rowe under Arteta. That's another quality player. And I think we could be calling on some of these players this summer because the money is not going to be there. So, I think, some of those players are what we could be calling on this season. I'm going to do a couple more, right? Let's get one from Facebook and one from YouTube. Because remember, we're broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, and Twitch, right? So always great to hear from you on all of those platforms. Chris says, get behind Arteta. He knows what we need. Let's start taking some positives from the situation. This has given him more time to create more unity amongst the team and get his ideas across. Mark my words, things will improve. Gooners for life. He's right. We've got to get behind Arteta. The board have got to get behind him as well. When I say get behind him, it may not be this summer in buying lots of players. It might be more in getting behind him in keeping the players that he wants. Samir says, any advice for me? I want to make a channel, a YouTube channel. My advice for you is going to be hard work, but just go for it. Go for it and do it, mate. You know what I mean? Think of something original, or if you're doing something what other people are already doing, like say a football channel and that, try and have your own flavor to it. That's what I'd say to you. Have your own flavor to it and be consistent and persist. Don't just give up because you've been doing videos for a couple of months and you're only getting like 10, 20 views, right? Just concentrate on making good videos consistently and it will start to grow. It's a long game. You can't, you know, a lot of people jump on this thing and they're expecting like thousands of views off of their first video. It doesn't work like that. You've got to build it. And if you build it, it can work. It can work. Omar says, when is the podcast out? Podcast out today, around about midday. So All Guns Blazing podcast coming out today. I said I was going to do a couple more. There's so many. I'm still doing more. Rodrigo says, from Rwanda. Hi, nice to make contact with people from Rwanda. He says, Robbie, if you think Arteta is not given a proper transfer window, he would leave for a better club. I think he's going to stay here for a while. I think, you know, he played for Arsenal. I think he's he knows how big a job this is. He knows how big a club this is. And I think that he really, really wants to make it work. So I have faith that, you know, he will be here. He will be here in the long run. And last one here, Stefan says, Robbie, will you revive the Man Like Robbie channel? Well, I've got, after the lockdown, there's a new channel coming. That's all I'm going to say. But it's going to be after the lockdown, right? Because, you know, and this channel was in the making for quite a while and was due to come out around about February this year, but it was put back because of this whole coronavirus thing. But when the lockdown finishes, you're going to get information on this new channel. So look out for that. It's going to be big. Thank you very much for watching the show today. There's been brilliant interaction from you guys as usual. So many of you guys watching the stream live as well. Every single week, the numbers are going up and up and up on these live streams. It's been absolutely incredible. So thank you very much for that. We're going to be back tonight with the show in the evening. We've also got the All Guns Blazing podcast coming up at midday. Make sure you check that out. And you can also still check out the Biased Premier League show, Troops predicting the North London derby. That was a laugh and giving his points of view. Make sure you check that out. But we'll see you again later and have yourself a great day.